Download this code from codegive.com, link in the description below. Python encoding issues with urllib and how to avoid Stack Overflow. Encountering encoding problems when working with urllib in Python is a common hurdle, especially when dealing with web pages and APIs that use different character encodings. This tutorial will provide a comprehensive understanding of why these problems arise, how to diagnose them, and how to fix them, reducing the chances of Stack Overflow being your first resort. We'll also illustrate these concepts with practical code examples. Understanding character encoding. At the core of encoding issues lies the way computers represent text. Computers ultimately operate on binary data, zeros and ones. Character encoding is the process of translating characters, letters, symbols, etc., into a numeric representation suitable for storage and transmission, and vice versa. Think of it as a codebook that maps characters to specific numbers. ASCII, American Standard Code for Information Interchange, an early and simple encoding that represents 128 characters, English alphabet, digits, and some control characters, using 7 bits. UTF-8, Unicode Transformation Format, 8-bit a variable length encoding that can represent virtually every character in every language. It is the de facto standard encoding for the web. UTF-8 uses 1 to 4 bytes per character, with ASCII characters encoded using a single byte. Latin 1, ISO 8859-1, a single byte encoding that includes ASCII and adds characters used in Western European languages. Other encodings. Many other encodings exist, like UTF-16, UTF-32, Shift-JIS, Japanese, GB2312, Simplified Chinese, etc. Why encoding issues occur with urllib. Urllib in Python, specifically, the urllib.request module in Python 3, is used for fetching resources from the internet. When you retrieve data from a web server, the server sends back a stream of bytes. Python needs to decode these bytes into a string that it can work with. The main issues arise when 1. The server doesn't explicitly declare the encoding *. If the web server doesn't specify the character encoding in the content type header of the HTTP response, urllib, and, by default, Python itself, will often assume a default encoding, which might be ASCII or Latin 1. This can lead to incorrect character representations if the server is actually using a different encoding like UTF-8. 2. The declared encoding is incorrect *. Sometimes, the server might declare an encoding in the content type header, but the content is actually encoded using a different encoding. This is often due to misconfiguration or legacy systems. 3. Manually constructed URLs with non-ASCII characters *. When you include non-ASCII characters directly in a URL string, you need to properly encode them using URL encoding, %encoding, to ensure that the server correctly interprets them. Diagnosing encoding problems. Before diving into solutions, it's crucial to identify the root cause of the encoding issue. Here's a step-by-step approach. 1. Inspect the HTTP response headers *. Use the urllib.request to retrieve the response and examine the content type header. This header often specifies the character encoding using the charset parameter. 2. Attempt to decode with different encodings *. Try decoding the byte data with different encodings, UTF-8, Latin 1, etc., to see if any produce meaningful results. 3. Look for clues in the data *. Examine the retrieved content, if possible, for clues about the encoding. For example, if you see odd characters like a euro instead of an M-, it's a strong indication of an encoding problem. 4. Consult the website documentation, if available. If you're interacting with an API, Check the API documentation for information on the expected character encoding. Code example, diagnosing an encoding issue. Explanation of the code asterisk. 1. Import necessary modules asterisk. Asterisk urllib.request, for making HTTP requests. Asterisk chardet, a library for automatic character encoding detection. Install it using pip install chardet. 2. Check underscore encoding, URL, function asterisk. Asterisk takes a URL as input. Asterisk fetches the HTML content using urllib.request.urlopen. Asterisk retrieves the content type header from the response. Asterisk attempts to extract the character encoding from the content type header using string manipulation. Asterisk if an encoding is found, it attempts to decode the HTML content using that encoding. If successful, the decoded text is returned. If a Unicode decode error occurs, it means the decoding failed. Asterisk if no encoding is found in the content type header, it uses chardet to try to detect the encoding automatically. Chardet analyzes the byte data and provides an educated guess about the encoding. Asterisk if chardet detects an encoding, it attempts to decode the HTML content using the detected encoding. Asterisk as a fallback, it tries to decode the content with UTF-8 and Latin 1, common encodings. Asterisk if all decoding attempts fail, it returns none. 3. Error handling asterisk the code includes a try, except block to handle urllib.error.url error exceptions that can occur if there are problems fetching the URL, example network issues, invalid URL. For example usage asterisk the code demonstrates how to call the check underscore encoding function and what to do with the decoded HTML content. The URL variable should be replaced with a real URL that might have encoding issues. The print statement is commented out to avoid potentially printing large amounts of HTML. Fixing encoding problems. Once you've identified the encoding problem, here are the solutions. 1. Explicitly decode with the correct encoding asterisk the most common and effective solution is to decode the byte data using the correct encoding that you've identified. 2. Specify encoding in the content type header. If you control the server, the ideal solution is to configure the web server to correctly specify the character encoding in the content type header. This ensures that clients, like urllib, know how to decode the data. The exact method for doing this depends on your web server, example Apache, Nginx, IIS. For example, in Apache, you might use the add default charset directive in your .access file. 3. URL encoding, %encoding. When you're building URLs that contain non-ASCII characters, you need to encode them using URL encoding, also known as %encoding. This involves replacing non-ASCII characters with % followed by their hexadecimal representation. 4. Using requests library, recommended. The requests library provides a higher level and more user-friendly interface for making HTTP requests compared to urllib. It often handles encoding issues more gracefully. It automatically detects the encoding from the HTTP headers or the content itself and decodes the response accordingly. Asterisk install requests using pip install requests. Asterisk requests.get, URL, makes the HTTP request. Asterisk response.raise_for_status, checks for HTTP errors, example 404 not found, 500 internal server error, and raises an exception if one occurs. Asterisk response.text returns the decoded content of the response as a string. Requests automatically handles the decoding based on the content type header. 5. Handling BOM, byte order mark. Some files, especially those in UTF-16 or UTF-32, may start with a BOM. While not always necessary for UTF-8, it's a common practice. If present, you might need to strip it to avoid issues. Important considerations and best practices asterisk. Asterisk always explicitly decode asterisk never rely on implicit decoding with default encodings. Always explicitly specify the encoding when decoding byte data. Asterisk use UTF-8 asterisk UTF-8 is the preferred encoding for the web and most modern applications. Use it whenever possible. Asterisk validate user input asterisk when dealing with user-provided text, example in search queries, validate that the input is properly encoded. This can prevent encoding injection attacks. Asterisk choose the right tool asterisk the requests library is generally easier to use and handles encoding more reliably than urllib. Consider using it for most HTTP requests. Asterisk be prepared to handle errors asterisk encoding errors are a reality. Implement robust error handling to gracefully handle decoding failures. This might involve trying alternative encodings or displaying an informative error message to the user. Asterisk document assumptions asterisk clearly document the expected character encoding for any external data sources, example APIs, files. Asterisk test thoroughly asterisk test your code with data from different sources and in different languages to ensure that it handles encoding correctly. Asterisk stay updated asterisk keep your Python environment and libraries up to date to benefit from the latest bug fixes and improvements related to encoding handling. Asterisk read the documentation asterisk always refer to the urllib or requests documentation for the most up-to-date information. By understanding the principles of character encoding, systematically diagnosing problems, and applying the appropriate solutions, you can significantly reduce the likelihood of encountering encoding issues with urllib and avoid needing to resort to Stack Overflow, although it can still be a helpful resource. Using libraries like requests will generally make your work much easier. Good luck.